major credit cards only score in this category. This is 40% of your score. So guess what? If you're sitting in this room and you don't have 2 credit cards in your pocket, you automatically have bad credit. I know you do. If I sit down and interview with you, how many open active credit cards do you have? If you don't have at least 2, I already know you got bad credit. I don't care how many homes you've bought. I don't care how many cars you own. You have bad credit. New credit, that's the number of inquiries you have, is 10%. Types of credit in use, that's your mix of credit, is 10%. And the final category is length of credit history. It's only 5% of your score. Praise God for that. Why is that a good thing? Because if I cancel number 5 and only work on the other 4 categories, you can now have perfect credit no matter how old your credit is. That's why I tell you we can get your credit right in 90 days or less. That's why if you're in this room and you're 18 years old, your next month you should have an 800 credit score. You got that? Some of you are here, you should have better credit than your parents. They should be asking you to co-sign. As soon as you turn 18, the next month, you should have an 800 credit score. Because length of credit history only matters for 5%. What's the new high score, somebody? What's the highest credit score? 990, thank you. 990. So if I discount that 5%, I can still get an 890. Would you be happy with that? Okay. So this is the system. We know that now that there's 5 components. Now, what I did and what's my claim to fame and why I did some work for President Bush and why congressmen, these guys respect my opinion and ask me to write opinion papers and do studies for them is because I designed the only formula in the country or in the world for credit restoration. I reverse engineered the FICO system and I create a formula that teaches me how the scoring model behaves. Once you master this formula, it's impossible for you to have bad credit. And I'm going to teach it to you. Once you know it's impossible for you to have bad credit. Everybody that you teach it to, it will be impossible for them to have bad credit. You got to know the formula. When you go to Fair Isaac's website, they tell you that your credit score is controlled by complex algorithms that convert data into a numerical value. Okay. So you have to understand the formula that controls your credit. All right? So that formula we have here, and we're going to start breaking that down one at a time. Let's start with the first category. First category is payment history. My formula said in order for you to get the full 35%, you have to have ZDC, which means zero derogatory credit. So that makes sense. But we have to understand what derogatory credit is in a FICO environment. In the old credit system, I'm going to ask you a question. If you have a Sears card, you've had it for 10 years, and you've only been late one time. In the old system, a human being analyzed your credits and decided whether or not to approve you. Would that analyst consider that a good credit? You had a Sears card for 10 years, you're only late one time. Yes, of course, approved. This is great credit. Now we're in a FICO system. A computer scores your credit. You have the same account. You have a 10-year-old credit card with only one late payment. Does the computer see that as good or bad? Bad. You're absolutely correct. You cannot have a single late payment on any open credit. It scores the worst. It destroys your credit the worst. So the first thing we do to get ZDC is close all negative activity. The only accounts that I want to have open have 100% positive history. So I need you to do this. I'm going to show you a trick to close off your revolving accounts, your credit cards. This is a trick, okay? But it's a good trick. If you take your account information, you have a Sears card, let's say you have a gold Visa card, you were late one time. and you came to the workshop, so you know you need to close it. If you were to accidentally take all your account information and show it to your small children, you could honestly call the Visa next day, call the Gold Visa company and say, look, how you doing? My children have gotten access to my account information. I need a new account number. They will open a new account for you. It will transfer the balance and the high credit. It will not transfer the account history. If you go on the internet or read credit books, people who say they're credit experts, they understand this principle, they just don't know how to do it. They'll tell you to report your credit card lost or stolen. That does not work because it transfers the history. They'll open up another identical account and it'll transfer the history. So you need a new account number, okay? For major installment items like cars and houses, you have to refinance those items. That's the only way. So the revolving, I want to get new accounts. On the installments, I want to refinance. So now everything that I have open is positive. That's the first shot in the arm for my credit, okay? Now, that was easy. So now we have all these closed derogatory accounts. What you gonna do with those, Doc? Well, I always ask people this question. I said, look, it only takes 90 days to have perfect credit. You've had bad credit for a couple years. What you waiting on? I ask my clients all the time, what you waiting on? My friends, what you waiting on to fix your credit? What you waiting on? What do you think the number one answer is? What's everybody waiting on? Money. You know. Y'all say the same thing. Doc, as soon as I get enough money, I'm going to fix my credit. Tell me something. Now, we don't play the lottery, but if we played the lottery and we won $40,000, would you spend that $40,000 on the most student loans and medical bills? You know you wouldn't. Come on. The pastor listening, okay? You know you ain't. You will never have enough money. I have clients who are professional athletes, multi-millionaires with bad credit, and I still have to squeeze their arms to get their credit right because you never get enough money. You'll never. It's a trick. That's a trick. You've been programmed for self-destruction. Wait till you get enough money, then fix your credit. You will never have enough money. I want to fix my credit when I'm broke. That way, when I tell the creditors I ain't got no money, I ain't got to lie. The reason I ain't paying you is because I ain't got no money. I would like to, but I don't have no money. That's when I want to get my credit right, when I'm broke. So this is what we want to do. The first step is to take the Fair Credit Reporting Act and put it to use. Every president has the chance to sign and amend the Fair Credit Reporting Act. That is singly your greatest tool for cleaning your credit. There's nothing better on the planet, okay? So the Fair Credit Reporting Act says that anything that's incomplete, inaccurate, outdated, or unverifiable has to be removed from your credit. Now, I was on this TV show, and these guys were trying to beat me up a little bit. They said, are you telling me, Dr. Grayson, you can remove an accurate negative item from someone's credit? I'm going to ask you that question. Can you remove this? I'm saying that it's negative and it's accurate. So this is a credit card that we know you didn't pay. Can that come off of your credit? Yes, because the law says inaccurate. We know it's accurate. So I'm going to put that one to the side. But I got 3 other categories here, right? Incomplete, outdated, or unverifiable. So now guess what my job is? To make sure it hits one of them 3 categories. I know I ain't paid the bill. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't paid. But that's why this one's down here. I'm working on these 3.